I was more into writing, but I'm more into books now. Because book club is where you go and you go chill out on the floor and you retell stories or share your opinion or have connections. Just like when we have like our own ideas.
As a school, we were looking at our data and we were recognizing that students needed a little bit extra support in the area of reading comprehension. We decided that we were going to run literacy clubs, and we thought that to do it as a book club, to represent what adults do when they get together and they read books and how excited they are to talk about characters. And we thought that it would be really great to engage the students in that way, to show them that in the real world, people get together and talk about books. It's not something they're just doing for school.
I was excited the first day, but I was kind of scared. But the second day, I was absolutely happy because I wanted to read. And sometimes we would read and sometimes we would talk about it and do some games.
Every day they were asking me, Mrs. Burke, is it book club day? They were really enjoying working with each other and talking to each other, not just talking to a large group in class or talking to their teacher, but to talk to each other about their books in a way that was meaningful and enjoyable to them, and not just in a way that we were telling them to do.
We talked about it
Yeah, we talked about it in class, independent reading, book club. Sharing. Sometimes we did it like during an indoor recess.
So often in school, I think they feel like they're not allowed to talk. And they're just learning now that there can be really rich, engaging, and talk that produces learning. And I think to hear that from each other and to hear how they can have different views on one topic. There's not a right and wrong answer. They can sit together and talk about the book, and one student can see an event happening this way, and another student can see it a different way, and it can to discuss that with each other and to learn to be respectful of opinions.
We talked about like what book we read. We were in groups. We speak respectfully, and we be quiet when the other people are talking.
The boys really started to engage in the story and to start to ask each other questions. I remember one student in particular had a sticky note where he didn't understand something, and so he addressed the question to me, but another student answered, I think it means this here. And then they started that conversation and talking back and forth, and I think they really started to realize that they could rely on each other to help increase their understanding. Yes, we found a book for the girls, for a group of girls called Wish, and these were girls that they didn't have anything that they liked to read, and they weren't sure they could find anything, and we found a series called Fairy Gown Series, and they loved it and they really took to it. And I'd be in the halls and they would tell me about the chapter they read that week. I had 4 copies of the first book, but only 2 copies of the second and 1 copy of the third, and they would fight over who was getting the next book. Who kept reading?
I kept reading to the second one.
I read Hope.
Which is Hope? Was that the last one?
That's the second
one.
The last one is Believe.
Yeah.
So I think as a school we're seeing that. We're seeing kids are realizing that they can enjoy reading, and talking about reading helps with the enjoyment. It makes it more exciting and it makes it more real for them, as opposed to just looking and decoding words. They're actually getting meaning from their reading now, and I think you'll see around the school that there's a buzz about reading because of that.
It's fun to read books. Book club is good for you because if you learn knowledge, you'll get a job, and then if you get a job, there's good things that'll happen in the rest of life. I think it was better than just sitting in class and doing work.
Book club and in the classroom went hand in hand. So we might have had some students in the book club who might have had some different intervention, but it was happening also within the classroom. But being an instructional leader, what I've seen is that the staff, they're collaborating. They're having that time where they share of what their needs are and how can they be supported from their colleagues and their peers. So in the classroom, it kind of shows what they've talked about in their PLC or what they've talked about maybe at book club, and bringing it back for the next day so that they can work that for another week and then can bring it back and say we've seen this change. And so I think it's been working with our school.